Hello, students. This is your last day of this week of summer school. This is going to be your last video lesson. So I hope that you've caught up with us and you're staying with us. If you have any questions about what to do for summer school or if you got behind, you need to talk to me at sfrank2@houstonisd.org. If you've turned something in from this week late by next week, then you're going to need to contact me because I will have given you a missing grade. So make sure that you keep up with us, and if you need extra time or you get lost, you need to contact me with your email address. Okay, so today we are going to be talking about the structure of the New Colossus, which is a poem by Emily Lazarus that we went over yesterday and the day before. So it's this is a very traditional type of poem as far as the structure goes, the organization. It is a Petrarchan sonnet. So a sonnet, there are different kinds of sonnets, but this kind of sonnet is also known as the Italian sonnet. It was named after the creator of this kind of poem. His name was Francesco Petrarca, and he lived in the Italian Renaissance, and he wrote poems with this structure, and then other poets model after him and kind of like copy the structure and the style. So Shakespeare wrote these kinds of sonnets. John Milton, other famous poets have written these kind of sonnets. So we need to pay attention to the form. So a sonnet is, a Petrarchan sonnet is 14 lines long, but it's split up into two different sections. We have the first 8 lines, which is the octave, and then the next final 6 lines, which is the sestet. And so all sonnets pretty much follow that structure if they're going to be like a true sonnet in the traditional form. So the octave usually sets up the situation, and then the sestet comments, puts commentary or adds a counter argument, or there's always some kind of shift between the first 8 and the last 6 lines. You have the first 8, which is laying the foundation of the poem, and then the last 6 lines, which is really just like there's like a big shift, and that's where you see the commentary. So the other thing that we need to know about Petrarchan sonnets is that they are typically written in iambic pentameter. Now, iambic pentameter seems kind of tricky, but it's basically just the rhythm of the poem, or the meter of the poem. So iambic, an iamb is a set of 2 syllables. Okay, so like if I say when I, that's the first 2 words of this sonnet that we're going to read. When I is one iamb. There are 5 iambs in iambic pentameter. So pent means 5 if we look at our Greek and Latin roots. So if there's 5 sets of 2 syllables, then how many syllables would there be in each line? 5 times 2 is, hopefully you know that, it's 10. Yes. So there are 10 syllables in every line of iambic pentameter. Now, the stress of the syllables is important as well. So which word in the iamb that you say louder and longer, that's the heavy part of the iamb. So it goes da 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 da, and that's the rhythm that iambic pentameter follows. A lot of Shakespeare is written in iambic pentameter. A lot of y'all have read Romeo and Juliet. Most of that's written in iambic pentameter. And so that gives us like a certain rhythm. It's just like rap. Like a rapper doesn't say all of the words with the same speed, the same volume, and the same emphasis. There's certain words that are emphasized and certain words that aren't, and then that way that you get the rhythm. Okay, and then all the lines have the same amount of syllables in this kind of sonnet. So that way it feels balanced, and each line is balanced and equal length. Okay, so here we have an example of a Petrarchan sonnet written in iambic pentameter. I've posted it on the hub. It's by a famous poet named John Milton. So we're gonna read this poem. I want you to pull the poem up so that you can look at it while I read it to you, and we'll look at the structure. Then we're gonna apply the same concept back to the poem that we went over the other 2 days this week. When I consider how my light is spent by John Milton. When I consider how my light is spent, ere half my days in this dark world and wide, and that one talent which is death to hide, lodged with me useless, through my soul more bent, to serve therewith my Maker and present my true account, lest he returning chide, doth God exact day labor light denied? I fondly ask, but patience to prevent. Now the second stanza. That murmur soon replies, God doth not need either man's work or his own gifts, who best bear his mild yoke, they serve him best. His state is kingly, thousands at his bidding speed, and post o'er land and ocean without rest, they also serve who only stand and wait. John Milton. Okay, so if we look back at it, I'm going to hold up my finger so you can see the iambic pentameter. When I consider how my light is spent. So you say when I, and then the quieter, shorter word when, and then you say I longer and a little bit louder. That has the emphasis. That's when I am. When I consider how my life is spent. So you see every line in this poem has an alternating between unemphasized and emphasized syllables, and has 10 syllables in each line. When I consider how my light is spent, ere half my days in this dark world and wide. Perfect. Okay, so that's one example. I wanted you to see another example of a Petrarchan sonnet. Let's go ahead and pull up the new Colossus, which is the poem that we've been analyzing and reading this week and doing vocabulary from. So this is the poem that part is inscribed on the base of the Statue of Liberty, the new Colossus by Emma Lazarus. So we're going to read it, and then we'll go back and look at the iambic pentameter and look at the octave and the sestet and see how it fits the structure of the traditional Petrarchan sonnet. Okay. Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, with conquering limbs astride from land to land, here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with a torch whose flame is the imprisoned lightning and her name, mother of exiles from her beacon hand, glows worldwide, welcome her mild eyes command. The air-bridged harbor that twin cities frame. Keep ancient lanes your storied pomp, she cries she, with silent lips, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore, send these, the homeless tempest tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Okay, so here we see almost perfectly written in iambic pentameter. Not like the brazen giant of Greek fame, 10 syllables, with conquering limbs astride from land. Oh, I messed it up again. When conquering limbs upstride from land to land. So conquering is kind of like squished together, so it fits in the iambic pentameter. Here at our sea-washed sunset gates shall stand a mighty woman with torch whose flame. So I said it's almost perfect iambic pentameter. There's a few lines that are like a little short or a little long, but it's pretty much totally written. Is the imprisoned lightning wind her name, mother of exiles from her beacon hand. Okay, you'll get the point. And then we see the first 8 lines, the octave. And again, if we look at our Greek and Latin roots, oct, OTC, if we think of the word octopus, how many legs does an octopus have? It has 8. So octave means the first 8 lines. We see 2 things happening here. Really, it's like the visual imagery of the setting of the harbor and the place where the statue is. The Statue of Liberty is made and is standing. So it gives us this visual of the statue and the setting, and so we can picture what's happening in the poem. It also gives us a contrast to the Colossus. Remember from the last lesson, the Colossus was the ancient Greek seven wonders of the world statue. It was giant. Its one leg was on one side of the harbor, or the other leg was on the other side of the harbor, and it was this giant statue that kind of protected the city of Rhodes. So we see a comparison and a juxtaposition between the Statue of Liberty and the Colossus statue of ancient Greece. And the Colossus was this like very aggressive protector, like do not come in. We're going to protect our people from outsiders, foreigners. It's more of like a warlike stance from this statue. And then this other large statue is a female. The Statue of Liberty is a female. And in this poem, she has more of a motherly, tender, kind, welcoming presence. So we see that there's both these great civilizations have these giant statues at the welcoming front part of their harbor, but we see that contrast because one statue is representing more of like a warrior type, and then the other statue is representing more of that mother archetype. So that's the first 8. We have the setting, the visual imagery, and then we have the juxtaposition between the old statue and the new statue. The last 6 lines that we have here are when the Statue of Liberty starts speaking. Now remember, obviously, it's personification. She's not really speaking. But this is where we see more of the perspective of the statue and how she feels towards the immigrants. She's like, come to our country. We welcome you. And this is where she starts talking. We see the quotations. Keep ancient lands, your story pumped. Cries she with silent lips. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. The wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless tempest tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. Remember, golden door, lift the lamp. She's welcoming the poor people in. She's saying, you rich, snobby people, you stay out. America is a place for immigrants to come who are tired, who needs rest. And this is a certain aspect. This is the aspect of this poem that's the most famous, the sestet, the 6 lines at the end, the part where the Statue of Liberty is talking, because people use this as like the symbol of America being like the American dream for immigrants and being a place that welcomes. Okay. So that being said, we now learned a little bit about the Petrarch and sonnet. We learned about iambic pentameter. We see how that this poem we read this week fits into that traditional structure. And we will continue next week. Next week, instead of doing poetry, we will be doing an essay. So be ready to start doing some writing. And please email me if you have any questions. Your work that is due tonight, you have some specific assignments that are due. Let's see. Sorry, I have to pull it up again because I had the poem pulled up. Okay, so we already have turned in, hopefully, our quiz and our quiz on the hub, our discussion on the hub. Today, you need to make sure that you get your vocabulary quiz for the new Colossus done on vocab.com. And then you need to make sure that your no red ink quiz on subject-verb agreement is done as well. So you just have to watch this video, which you already did because you're at the end. Great, awesome. And then you have the 2 quizzes, one on vocab and one on no red ink. Neither of them should take you a really, really long time. So just get that done and then you're done for today. Okay, have a good one.